TST Gaming.
What's up guys, Michael here, and today we are going to be doing a fellowship phase for our One Ring Strider mode game that I started earlier this year. It was 7 episodes called The Secrets of Angmar, and I didn't do a fellowship phase because that's what you do in between games to upgrade your character, and I didn't know if we were having a season 2, but the overwhelming support that we had and the positive feedback that we had, which I greatly appreciate, convinced me to do a season 2. And it took some time because I had to try to get the story right, because the first story is near and dear to me. I think it turned out wonderful. I'm not going to try to copy that. I'm going to try to do something completely different, but with the same character as a season 2. More on that in the next video I'll be making. But today we're doing the fellowship phase, and so there will be spoilers if you haven't watched the first 7 episodes, so I do encourage you to go back and watch all 7 before this. If you're just trying to learn how fellowship phase works and you don't care about spoilers, big or small, of the story, let's just jump right in. So for the fellowship phase, we're going to go ahead and pull up the book, and this is the 3rd printing that I'm using, which is the most up-to-date print as of right now. So it says, for the fellowship phase structure, all fellowship phases are structured as follows. Number 1, set duration. To give the player, they have a whole thing, but usually if you just do the brackets, it'll kind of sum it up for you. So I'm just going to do those because we don't need to read the whole book. To give the player heroes a real break from active adventuring, a fellowship phase should last a minimum of 1 week up to an entire season. And that's because, and they talk about this later on, they want you to have, I believe it's 2 to 3 adventures per year of in-game time. So, you know, maybe a spring, summer, and fall, and then winter could be your Yuletide fellowship phase, which is a separate thing that I'll kind of go into in a minute. Something to that effect. Okay, and so as you can see, if you remember, I was keeping track of like dates and stuff, and this isn't as organized as I'd like it, but I actually, because it had been so long, went back and rewatched everything to make sure everything was accurate. So the date I had started on in universe in Middle Earth was March 4th of the 3rd, or March 4th, 2965 of the 3rd age. And I went through all the journey events, you know, whether we gained a day, lost a day, all the rolls, and it ended on the 20th of June was the finale, if you will. So we're gonna say it's at least, we'll say 3 weeks, just because that kind of gives some space, because there was supposed to be a funeral and some downtime. So we'll say that, you know, everything that we talked about in the last episode, what happened with the Blade of Angmar and the funeral, all that stuff has happened. And so we'll say 3 weeks. And the book, oh, it's right here, is choose destination. So it says, the players are free to select any location the company has visited so far. The journey required to reach the chosen destination is considered to take place behind the scenes unless the players have a mind to play out the details. So basically, let's say you had traveled to, we'll say Mordor, right? Instead of, it's just like in the movie, you didn't see them journey all the way back to the Shire. It just fast forwarded to the Shire. And so it's similar here. Now, I ended my adventure, my character Baranor ended his adventure in Bree, which is on the map right where I'm at, right here. And I'll be clearing out the map by the end. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I'm just going to leave it in Bree because my patron lives all the way over in Rivendell, all the way to the right. But I'm not getting a mission during a fellowship phase. I'm just relaxing. So that's the second part. So figure out duration, figure out location. And now it's perform updates, which I'll show you. So we have 4 steps. Perform updates and then choose undertakings, which we'll get into. So to perform an update, this is the big thing. You'll see that there's a table here for new skill or combat proficiency level, new wisdom or valor rank, and how much it costs for skill points and adventures. Now the way it normally works in a regular game of the One Ring is you get 3 adventure points and 3 skill points. That's the only 2 skill points at all in the game. Or experience points, if you will. So skill points, adventure points. You get 3 and 3 every session. And it should resemble basically 1 point each per hour of game time. Strider mode is very different because, as you can see here, there's a whole list of things. If you accept a mission from a patron, you get an adventure point. If you survive a dangerous combat, you get an adventure point. Participate in a council, 1 skill point. So it's very different. So that's actually why I went back and rewatched all 7 episodes and took meticulous notes on my spreadsheet to make sure not only were the dates right, but what did I get adventure points for, and what I get skill points for, and what's my total. And so you'll see in the upper right hand corner that I have 11 adventure points, 14 skill points, 1 hope left, and 6 shadow. I did that on purpose because I wanted to make sure that it was completely accurate before I jump into the next thing. Now, again, with spoilers, spoiler warning that we already have, I also gave myself 3 additional shadow for killing my father because of how dark that would have been for my character. At the suggestion of someone on our comments. I don't remember who it was, but thank you for that suggestion. And my hope got down to 1, and I kind of wish I hadn't been so aggressive with my hope towards the end, but I didn't think again that I'd have a season 2. So I was just like, I might as well spend them while I got it. So I have 11 adventure points, 14 skill points, and we'll talk about that first. So I'm going to pull up my character sheet. Skill points go to skills. Seems quite obvious. Now, adventure points go towards your combat proficiencies as well as your valor and wisdom. Now, what valor and wisdom are is levels of bravery and also how smart you are to overcome certain things. So, for example, you go into Mordor and you see Sauron coming at you. That's going to put fear in you. And so you would do a corruption test. No, I'm sorry. That's what it was called in the first edition. A shadow test. And the shadow test will determine, based off of what kind it is, there's like dread and a few other ones. And based on if it's like dread, it's a valor test. So you would roll 1 feat die, which is a 12-sided die, and X amount of dice based on your valor score. And then you have a target number, and I believe valor goes against heart, wisdom goes against wits, and your weapons goes against your strength target number. And again, your target number is based off of the character you create. So my target number for strength is 12, so anything in this column, I had to hit a 12 to get. Anything in this second column, I had to get 14, and anything in the final column, I had to hit 13 to pass. And that's what those kind of are. Now, also, when you do upgrade your valor, which I'll show you here, you get certain rewards. So for valor, you get a rewards list that's going to be more or less, I'm going to try to put it off to the side so it's easier for you to see. But you kind of get certain things, so we'll just kind of leave it right around here. So you could upgrade your weapon to be keen, where attack rolls made with a keen weapon score a piercing blow, also on the result of 9 on the feat die. Typically it's 10 or Gandalf rune. So that bumps you up to 25% chance every attack that you're going to crit, as long as you still successfully roll your number. Or add 1 damage to the rating, add 1 to your shield's parry bonus, that kind of thing. So it's physical rewards in that regards. And that's for valor. For wisdom, you have virtue, or no. Yes, you can get virtues, which is like raise your maximum hope rating by 2, choose 2 skills and make them favored. But also, with cultural virtues, you have virtues that are based on your culture. So for my character, Baranor, being a Ranger of the North, it's going to be towards the bottom. And these are ones that are a lot more suited for your characters, rather than just the generic ones, if you will. So virtues of the Rangers of the North. So like the first one, raise your maximum endurance rating by 1. If you wear a suit of leather armor with no helmet or no armor at all and carry no shield, you never gain fatigue during a journey. So that could actually be really helpful in a solo campaign, but also you're very exposed during combat. So there's certain things that you can do. But before we get there, I want to focus on the skill points specifically. Now, the way that skills work in journeying, which is the biggest part of Middle-earth, as we know, they walked for 1,000,000 miles in the movies, is traveling. So travel, when you do that, in a regular game, you have 4 roles that your players in the company will be assigned to, they agree to or whatever. One is the guide. This person rolls a travel check to see how many spaces away or days away is the first journey event. Then you have the awareness, which is your lookout, or your lookout, which is awareness. You have the hunter, which is hunting, and then you have explore, which is for the scouts. And each one of these is fulfilled. So when the LM, the lore master, rolls an event, they're like, oh, it looks like it's going to target the scout. Okay, I need you to make an explore roll. And if they pass that, like that particular scout has to make that roll. So that person, when they're upgrading their points, wants to make sure they're really good at that particular skill. When you're playing solo, all of that is on you. So you want to make sure you're good in all 4 of them. So in my travel and my awareness and hunting, they're favored, which means I can roll the feat die twice and keep the better result, plus the additional 6-sided dice. So the only one I don't really have is explore. And I have 2 dice in that because every diamond equals 1 extra dice. So I'm debating on doing that. Persuade I have 3 in, but I didn't really have to deal with that last time. Didn't do a whole lot with athletics. I don't care about songcraft, courtesy, or battle as much. Insight could be nice, but it's kind of hard on a solo game because it's like, well, are they lying to me or not? And I can roll the dice on the tables of solo mode, as you guys have seen. So I'm not sure what I want to spend it on. So we're going to go back to the fellowship phase. We're going to go to the score. And I believe it's 4, 8, 12, 20. I think that's the same. So I actually have a cheat sheet built into this, but it may be based off of first edition. I think it's good now. Fellowship phase. Right here, advancement. So we're going to work on, it's called training, which is skills. I'm trying to move it as high up as possible so my face doesn't take up too much of it. Let me actually make sure it looks right. 4, 8, whoop. 4, 8, 12. Yeah, it looks right. One thing you'll notice is that on the cheat sheet, they actually split up training, which is just skills, and growth, which is combat and wisdom and valor. And that's how I, as an LM, like to do it with my players. I just have them do the training side first, and sometimes we'll have them roleplay how are you getting better at hunting while you're hanging out in Bree? What is that? And so they can kind of roleplay. So a little LM tip for you. But I only have, we said, 11 points. So that means I can go up to a level 2. I can't go to a level 3 in any skill. So now I need to go back and look at my character and be like, okay, what skills do I have that's a level 1 that I could go to a 2? I'd really like to be able to explore more, but this is really hard. I didn't want to go in with a plan and be like, oh, I'm going to do this, this, and this, because that way it wouldn't be like a 2-second video and then you really didn't learn anything. So you really have to think about, what do I want to get? So also one thing I would recommend keeping in mind is, what is your target number? Because the lower the target number, the less dice you need to accomplish that roll. So where heart is my highest TN, it would behoove me to work on those particular ones. But again, I can't move anything to a 3. I think I'm going to do insight for 1, and that's going to take it from, to get from a 1 to a 2 cost 8 points. So that's going to minus 8 points, and that's pretty much all I'm going to be able to do for that. Is that really what I want? Is just minus 8 for insight over anything else? I think I'm going to instead do scan, because I feel like that could be more helpful. How do I do this? There we go. Oh, wrong one. So I'm going to do scan instead, because I feel like that would be more helpful for a hunter who's like trying, or a ranger who's trying to look for clues and such. I know there's hunting and stuff, but just it's an extra tool in that kit. So next up we have, okay, so once I minus 8, I should be down to 3 adventure points. Let me center those. And now I have 14 of those. So now when we go to growth, I have up to 14, so I can go up to a level 3. And the way it works as well, just to be clear, you can't say, oh, I'm a 1. I'm just going to jump up to a 3 and just pay the 12. No, you have to pay the 8 to get to a 2 and the 12. Like, it doesn't skip. You have to stack it if you're going to do more than 1 in one fellowship phase, which actually I believe you can't do. You have to do, I'm trying to see if it was on here, Storing Hope. It is somewhere, but I believe you can only level it up once per session, or once per thing, fellowship phase. So I had to go back to my combat, which we didn't get a whole lot of combat, and I'm kind of hoping that the next adventure takes us there. My swords is already a 3, and my bows is a 2, so that's pretty good. Maybe I'll do Valor or Wisdom. To get to a 2, I need, I'm going to guess it's 8. Yeah, it's 8. Valor or Wisdom. I'm going to look at my physical book, because that's sometimes easier to maneuver. The physical book I have is the first print from when they did the Kickstarter. But more or less, it's going to be similar, so it's just easier for me to get an idea. So give me a moment here. Men of 3. Rangers of the North. Okay, so, and keep in mind, again, I'm reading off of the first edition, but I'll actually be playing with the 3rd edition rules. It's just easier to maneuver this book. So the first one is Endurance of the Ranger. If you wear a suit of armor, of leather armor, or no armor at all and carry no shield, you never gain fatigue during a journey, which would be really nice. Foresight of their kindred. Well, let's see, what do I wear? I think I wear leather. I wear leather corselet, and if I carry no shield, I could drop the shield. I didn't really use it in the last one. I might do that, because getting no fatigue would mean my health, because again, if you remember, so I have 2 fatigue here. My load is 13, basically, because that's adding the 2 fatigue. I didn't reset my health, and we'll deal with that in a bit. But endurance is like your energy / health. So I have 26 max right now. My load is 13. That means I can only take 13 points of either fatigue or load, or I'm sorry, health damage, before I become weary and get hurt and things like that. So you want to keep that fatigue to a minimum. And to never have to gain fatigue during a journey. You know, I think I'm going to do that. So let me see what it says for 3rd edition, which I think I already read, but I just want to make sure that I read it correctly. And that's the right one. So we're going to do cultural virtues, virtues of... I should probably at least read the other ones really quick. See, Foresight of their kindred. During an adventuring phase, you may invoke your gift of Foresight a number of times equal to your Wisdom rating. So see, that's another way Wisdom can come in play. Or to bestow it upon yourself or another member of the company. This gift can be spent at any moment to reroll all dice involved in any one roll, whether made by the player hero or an adversary targeting them. That's cool. Heir of Arnor. With the help of the Lore Master, use the rules to create marvelous artifact. Oh, I already know that one. Royalty revealed. Once per combat, when you fight in an open stance, you can rally comrades. I don't have comrades. Strength of will, you gain 1 dice on all shadow tests made to resist the effects of dread. So that would help you with, like, if you're like, hey, I don't want to put points in Valor, I'm going to do it Wisdom because I want this bonus, but I still want to do that. I can do that. It kind of raises both to a degree. Ways of the Wild. Whenever you're making a roll using Explore, Hunting, or Travel, which is 3 of the 4 journey skills, you can spend 1 point of hope to achieve a magical success. Additionally, you're always allowed to cover more than 1 roll during a journey. Well, since I'm the solo player, I can do that anyways. I think I am going to go with the Endurance of the Ranger. So let me go ahead and put that in my spreadsheet here. Oops. Endurance of the Ranger. Because I don't have to worry about fatigue at all. He's just going to be full health almost all the time. And that's going to cost, I think we said 8 to go from 1 rank to the next. So... yes, so that's going to put me at 8. So I need to bump my Wisdom to a 2. And if you're using Foundry and you're not sure how to click it, you just click on Wisdom, it will pull it up for you. You put what difficulty, which mine says 13 because it goes off Wisdom. So I raise my Wisdom by 1, and now I'm going to get Endurance of the Ranger, which I'll have to add in the game before we play, which will be the next video. So I have that, so I'll no longer be fatigued. And that was 8 points out of 14. So minus 8. Whoops. So that's going to put me at 6. Now 6, I think I can go from a 0 to a 1 with 4 points. Yeah, so is there anything... oh, but it'd have to be combat or... so I can't move my Valor up. I can get axes or spears. That's it. So I'm going to have to save those points. And then we'll go ahead and do the health. Now the number of days you spend is equal to how many days you can kind of recover of fatigue. So I should be at 0 fatigue with this. And then my endurance is going to go back to full because... oh, that's supposed to be at 6 temporary shadow. Oh, but my hope. No, that's something we didn't do yet. So we're going to leave that for a second because we got to do the hope. So, spiritual recovery. During each fellowship phase, all player heroes automatically recover a number of hope points equal to their heart score. And they recover them all at Yule, which is the end year. We're not at end year, we're in the middle of summer. So I get my heart score, which is 4. So I get 4 points of hope back. So I get 5. And my shadow is 6. So that's not good because I'll automatically be miserable, which means that if I roll on the feat die I have Sauron, it's an automatic failure instead of a 0. But there's also this part. Then, if the adventuring phase resulted in what could be considered a positive outcome in the fight against the encroaching shadow, all members of the company get to remove a number of shadow points. And so basically the lore master gets to decide, and it's based on if the company's actions could be considered to have at least marginally interfered with the return of the shadow, each player hero removes 1 shadow point. If their deeds could be considered to have actively hindered or damaged the enemy, each player hero moves up to 2 shadow points. If the player heroes have committed feats that would gain the attention of the Dark Lord himself, or at least that of one of his major servants, then the player hero can move up to 3 shadow points. I've been kind of on the fence about what to give myself, and I think I'm just going to do 2 because it would have hindered an enemy from gaining power in this location in a way that would have put the sword or the blade of Angmar out in the open, and anyone who kills this person, then they have control of the army. So I'll give myself 2. I feel like that's also a middle ground. So it puts me at 4, meaning I spend one hope, boom, I'm already done. So that's not very good, but you live and you learn. So next up, we have to choose, this is the last step, which is choose undertakings. Players select a number of activities based on whether the fellowship phase is an ordinary one, which it is, or if it's Yule. So, fellowship phase undertakings. During a fellowship phase, the company, as a group, chooses one single undertaking. So we can heal scars, choose this undertaking to focus on mending your spiritual injuries, spend 5 adventure points, remove 1 shadow scar. That's something we haven't done yet. Oh, I was going to think of doing that, actually. Let me find out, because that would actually help me a lot, make me feel a lot better. I might do that. Shadow points. Okay, so there's something called shadow, or hardened will. In game terms, player heroes whose accumulated shadow does not yet match their maximum hope score can choose to remove all their current shadow, replacing it with a single shadow scar. A shadow scar is a permanent shadow point that can be removed only during Yule Fellowship phase by choosing the Heal Scars undertaking, but it's otherwise considered as a normal shadow point for all features. You can do that pretty much at any time from what I've heard, although I think it should only be done during a Fellowship phase. So I'm going to actually do that. So I'm going to put a Shadow Scar 1, which then puts this at 0. So I should only have 1. And Shadow Scars, if you get too many of them, they can start to affect you in negative ways, really bad ways. I won't go into that because we're not there. So I'm going to have 5 hope, 1 shadow, which means I can spend 4 hope before I become miserable. I have 0 fatigue and will gain 0 fatigue during travel events specifically. Making sure everything else... Oh, I had to drop my shield, which I'm fine with, because I haven't really used it anyways. I'll put my sword two-handed, and I'm going to keep my map as my useful gear, useful item. It was very handy in the last one because it gave me a bonus dice. And basically, you can choose what equipment gear you want, and they have a list of ideas. But you could be like a lantern for scan or for explore. You can kind of make it how you want as long as the LM is okay with it. For me, a map of travel. I've always been someone who loved maps, and I knew I'd be traveling a lot, so it just kind of made sense. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, adventure points. We're gonna remove all that because I'm keeping track of that elsewhere. And I think that's it. I think we are actually ready for the next adventure. He's, again, we chose a duration. We said 3 weeks. Then you choose the destination. We chose Bree. / Arch it, because it's like a smaller part of the Bree land area. And then 3 was to perform the updates of training and growth, which we did. And then the 4th one was to perform... Oh, there was one more thing, actually. So... I gotta go back to the fellowship phase. Oops. Scroll down a little bit. Because once you do the one that's been agreed on by everyone, finally during each fellowship phase, ordinary or Yule, the company is entitled to choose one additional undertaking, selecting it among those that are listed as free based on the callings represented to the player heroes. Now, I am a warden. So, you'll find that... There's going to be one that I can do, and I'm trying to see which one it is. Write a song. No, okay, let me look at my cheat sheet, because that way it'll help me. So, the ones on the right are red, so free for companies of warden. This is only that additional undertaking. So for me, I am a warden, so gather rumors, which is the only thing. And... So let me see if Gather Rumors in the third print still has that, because that was the one from the first print. That is undertaking normal. Write a song. No. Raise an air. Gather Rumors. Okay. A company, including a warden, can choose this activity as a free undertaking. So, a rumor can be about an individual, a place, or a coming event, pointing specifically to something the company can explore, prevent, or aspire to achieve. So I'm just going to roll three dice real fast, and we're going to see kind of what rumor they could come up with. I don't know if it's really applicable, but... You know, I'm not going to be exploring a rumor. I'm going to be doing a specific story. So I'm just going to choose not to do that. I don't know if I can, but it says they're entitled to choose. So I'm just going to not choose because I don't really get one. But I do want to go around the map and get rid of all of my spots. So all the journeys we made, Weathertop, for Arliss, the Ettendales, Carndum, Fornost, all the travel events, gone. Eridan, son of Hallis, gone. And our map is clean and ready to go for the next adventure. And I'm really looking forward to it. I think I found a story that is worth telling. Again, I'm not going to try to mimic what I did in the first one. That one was just more epic than I think I expected it to end up. And it worked out perfectly, worked out great. I'm very excited for the next one. It's going to be very much more a lone wolf kind of character going out in the wild and protecting it. Not so much with the familial stuff because both his parents are gone now. So follow us on our socials because we'll be posting about it. And when the next video is coming out, go ahead and like and subscribe so that way you don't miss out on any of the videos. Share it with people who you know love Middle Earth as much as I do, and I'm assuming you do if you're watching this. But until next time, when we get to play the next story, just play.
TST Gaming.